Hi everyone, happy Monday. I am excited to chat with you guys a little bit today about one of my favorite strategies for weight loss, and it is intermittent fasting. I know that sometimes it gets a bad rap, and I'm here to share all the do's and don'ts in regards to intermittent fasting in a safe and effective way for women who are chasing fat loss or weight loss. Before I begin, I wanted to just introduce myself. My name is Lauren Mattingly. I have been a faster way to fat loss coach for almost 6 years now. And my goal is to educate and empower women to live a healthy and sustainable lifestyle so that they can feel their very best. And it is an honor and a privilege to work with women every single day and to share my secrets and strategies with them so that they can feel confident and energized and healthy and strong and all of those amazing things. So thank you for joining me. I know I just popped on randomly in the middle of the afternoon, so who knows how many people will be here with me, but I wanted to kind of share over the course of the next few weeks a little bit more about what I do and the strategies that I offer through the Faster Way program. And so we're going to start with intermittent fasting. And thinking back 7+ years ago when I started the Faster Way myself as a client, intermittent fasting was not a buzzword. It was not popular. In fact, I had never heard of it and was kind of terrified. I thought that if I skipped breakfast or didn't eat until around lunchtime, that I would probably fall over dead, because the big box cereal companies have definitely put that in our minds that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And while that is true in many regards, it has kind of been something that I've shifted away from. And through intermittent fasting, I feel even better than I ever have. So wanted to chat through a few different things. There are reasons why intermittent fasting works very well for weight loss. So I want to give you guys a couple of reasons why I think it is a wonderful tool and strategy for weight loss for women. And I also want to tell you why it gets such a bad rap. I want to tell you that it is flexible and there's lots of different ways to intermittent fast. And I also want to kind of chat through how you can do it correctly, because there is certainly a right and a wrong way to implement intermittent fasting. And that is one of the things that I work very strongly or very closely, with my clients to make sure that they are practicing this in a safe and effective way in order to see results. So the first thing intermittent fasting does for you in terms of weight loss is it allows you, or helps you, assists you rather, in creating a caloric deficit. In the Faster Way, we talk a lot about macros. And in fact, I'm going to talk a little bit maybe later on this week or next week about why counting macros, tracking macros is a much better approach to weight loss than counting calories. But for now, what I want you to know is that, yes, calories are important. And yes, you have to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose weight. And so intermittent fasting puts a parameter, or guardrails as I like to call them, around when you eat. So you can be more strategic, but more importantly, it allows you to be more aware of when you're eating, listening to your hunger cues, rather than late night snacking, eating out of boredom, eating because, you think you need popcorn with your Netflix, or just, emotional eating. It puts guardrails around when you're eating, therefore helping you to stay within that caloric deficit. Second thing it does is it allows us to be more metabolically flexible. What that means is, instead of always burning glycogen, or what we refer to as carbs or sugar, for energy, which is our body's primary fuel source and what we naturally gravitate to first, we are able to in a fasted state, utilize fat for energy rather than always burning sugar. So we become more metabolically flexible. We are able to transition from being sugar burners essentially to being fat burners, which helps us to lose weight. So that's really important. The other part of this is how it impacts your blood glucose levels as well as your insulin sensitivity. This is huge for women, especially as we get into that perimenopausal season. We become more and more, as we age, become more insulin resistant. And through intermittent fasting, we are able to kind of reverse that. So we're managing our blood sugar. We are controlling our blood sugar through intermittent fasting, because when we are in a fasted state, our blood glucose levels are lower. When we are eating, our blood glucose levels raise, right? So our blood sugar raises, and in response to that, we actually have to produce insulin, which is a good thing. So we produce insulin in order to shuttle that glucose out of our blood into our cells. Now, the problem becomes when we are constantly living in a state of elevated blood sugar, and insulin is always having to work really, really hard. Over time, that leads to insulin resistance. And here is the kicker. When your blood sugar is elevated, and in response to that, we are constantly having to make insulin. Insulin is your fat storing hormone. So anytime insulin is high, you're not burning fat. Not at all. Okay, so as you are at digestive rest through intermittent fasting, your blood sugar is lower, your insulin is lower, therefore your body is able to tap into its fat stores to burn fat for energy rather than always relying on those glycogen stores. So this is a really, really important piece of intermittent fasting, and why it is so beneficial for so many women who have struggled to manage their blood glucose, to help reverse insulin resistance. The other thing that intermittent fasting does is it helps us to regulate our hunger hormones. So our ghrelin and our leptin, the hormones that our brain releases to tell us when we're hungry, to tell us when we are full. Other things that intermittent fasting can improve in your life is your energy, your mental clarity. It helps to regulate your digestive system, because when you are at digestive rest, your body is literally healing itself from the inside out, which is really cool. While at digestive rest, your gut is able to heal and repair itself. Your immune system it's boosting your immune system, and your body is kind of ridding itself of unwanted cell particles and things like that, so that your body is basically rebuilding and repairing itself, regenerating during that process. So that's a really neat thing. Intermittent fasting is a great tool for weight loss. It's also a really wonderful aspect of total health and wellness. And that is where I think it's really important to understand the Faster Way in general is not just a weight loss or fat loss program. My goal is to help you be healthy and happy and live a very healthy, long life by creating sustainable habits, by utilizing safe and effective strategies like this one. Now, there's a lot of different intermittent fasting protocols, and this is maybe part of the reason why it's gotten such a bad rap, is because many people think of intermittent fasting as going 24 hours without eating, maybe 36 hours without eating, maybe, you eat one day, off one day. There's a lot of variety to intermittent fasting, and there's a lot of different protocols. In the Faster Way, my clients are generally fasting for anywhere from 12 hours to 16 hours, 16 being the max that I would recommend for a woman. This is very flexible and very much a personal call. So as I'm working with new clients, we go over a lot of information regarding their hormones, the stress level, how well they are sleeping, their past dieting history, their health history, all the things. And from that, I get to determine an intermittent fasting protocol that I feel is best suited for them and the safest and most effective protocol for that person. So it is not just a cookie cutter, one size fits all strategy. It's one that can definitely be flexible. And there are certainly different people who I would suggest only fast for 12 hours, maybe 14. And then majority of people can safely fast up to 16. It's flexible. Like I said, it is free. And it has so many benefits just for overall health and wellness. One thing I wanted to mention is the flexibility in your eating schedule can be very different. So, a lot of times you'll hear that you need to eat after a workout, you need to eat earlier in the day, and for some people that is true. I think that there is a lot of bio-individuality when it comes to your nutrition and fitness and how you approach that. But there is no reason that you could not implement intermittent fasting, but simply eat earlier in the day. In fact, for some people that works really, really well. Eating earlier in the day, earlier in the morning, so that you finish up your eating window earlier in the evening. I also generally recommend that my clients are not eating past 2 to 3 hours before bed. That just helps you get a good night's sleep, again regulating your blood sugar throughout the night and really working towards that quality sleep. And if you missed it, Dr. Stephen Cabral, I had him live on my Instagram I guess last week, and we talked a little bit more in depth about that. So again, intermittent fasting is simple, it is flexible, it is free, and it is safe for majority of the population. Here is the don'ts. When you are intermittent fasting, the biggest problem that I see that women run into in regards to their hormones is that they are significantly under eating. So going back to the very beginning, where intermittent fasting can be a great tool to help you stay within your caloric deficit, if that is not done in the right way, if you are significantly under eating rather than staying in a moderate deficit, then it can certainly impact your hormones. So for a woman who is intermittent fasting and concerned with the impact that it has on their hormones, the primary thing that I look at is how much you are eating within that eating window. In the faster way, the way that we make sure that you are not significantly under eating is we track macros. So through macro tracking, we are ensuring that you are eating enough of the right foods at the right times for the right reasons, which makes intermittent fasting safe and effective, as I mentioned before. So I believe that every single person should be and can fast for a minimum of 12 hours. Every single person. Beyond that, I think it's, again, everyone is different and we can have some personalization to this strategy. But I do believe that everyone can benefit from this strategy in some form or fashion, whether that is a 12 and 12 intermittent fasting protocol or a 16 and 8. So I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can certainly put those in the chat. I want to talk about one last thing in terms of the flexibility of intermittent fasting. I get a little bit of pushback from women who, maybe want to enjoy a late night dinner or occasionally want to have breakfast with their family. And of course, intermittent fasting is flexible in the sense that from one day to the next, it can kind of vary. Again, that 12-hour baseline is a really great place to aim for. Beyond that is it can just kind of vary. And so if you are fasting for 16 hours a few days and maybe it's 12 on a Saturday, having breakfast with your family, or you go out to dinner on Friday and it ends up, being a late night, that's okay. You're still reaping the benefits of overall from the intermittent fasting. Be sure to Share this video in your stories if you found it helpful. Please feel free, again, like I said, to comment below if you have any questions in regards to intermittent fasting. I would love to chat through those with you all. I also have a free intermittent fasting guide that is complete with a meal guide to kind of help you ensure that you are eating enough as you practice this strategy. My very last round of the Faster Way starts today for the year, the last round of the year. I would love to have you in that as well. So please feel free to drop the word intermittent fasting if you would like that guide, or let's just do guide. That's a lot easier. So drop the word guide in the comments and I will be sure to send over that free guide for you so you can learn even more about intermittent fasting, as well as kind of dabble in one of our meal guides. And of course, if you'd like to start the Faster Way today, that is an option as well. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I